Hello, my name is Ita Reyes and I'm going to present Mexico 68. Now that we have an overview of the historical momentum and the philosophy around the globe in 68, I will present the Mexican case. Mexican students, as said by González Pedrero, were Marxist synthesis, Marx by day, Freud by night. But the Mexican movement was Marxist only in its rhetoric. It was an accident of events blown out of proportion, and it was never meant to start a revolution. In the following, we will analyze the reasons behind this statement. Mexican students in the 68 were the sons of the Mexican Revolution finished in 1920 to some 1940. The public policy were made following the ideals of revolutionary minds trying to construct a modern Mexico, and their decisions were legitimized by their involvement in the revolution itself. Mexico flourished in these years with socialist policies like free education, nationalization of energy and oil, but slowly switched to liberal approaches in alignment with the U.S. post-Second World War policies. The Mexican government had a patriarchal authority, and the people were meant to be led in obedience for the greater good. According to Loaesa, the Mexican authoritarian regime was justified for the ascendant evolution towards modernity, which could be addressed by an open and plural political participation. The conflict. In July 22nd, a fight broke over a football match between three high schools in Mexico City. The next day, more schools got involved, and the government, in an attempt to control the situation, decided to occupy the schools with riot police. In the following days, the students united against the repression of the government. Universities got involved, as well as the National Democratic Student Organization and the Communist Youth. A simple fight has now evolved into a movement. The government responds with soldiers occupying the grounds of universities and high schools. Students open for dialogue but are ignored. Publicly, they claim for freedom of speech, and the liberation of occupied schools. On September 30, the soldiers leave. In October 2nd, students assemble in the Tres Culturas Square in Tlatelolco and are surprised by organized soldiers with high-powered guns and war tanks. This is the climax of the movement. Many are killed, wounded, some are incarcerated, and some are never found. This event marked the end for the student movement, but also the loss of the government legitimacy. Did the Mexican movement have foreigner influence? Marcuse was invited as a lecture professor in Mexico City in the 66. This made possible for his ideas to be published, but it is unclear if they had direct influence. After October 3rd, it was suggested the Mexican movement had external influences. In the media, it was told the outbreak of violence was the student fault, and as shown by the next NSA archive document dated October 7, 68, it was a point of interest by the White House as well. In yellow, did or did not individuals from outside Mexico infiltrate the country just prior to the riots and take part? If so, where were they from and who did they represent? The answer in red, although the Mexican press continually plays the theme of foreign involvement, no conclusive evidence to this effect has been presented to date. Now, the authoritarian government. We have explored, with my teammates' interventions, the origin of students' unrest from the base. On my study case, I will analyze instead the superstructure from the troposphere embodied in the image of the authoritarian President Gustavo Díaz Ordaz. According to Juan J. Linz, an authoritarian system is neither a democracy nor a totalitarian regime. The Mexican students were fighting against oppression, against the authoritarianism in an apparent democratic society. Even though Mexico was a democracy with a multiple-party system, the elites coming from the revolution settled in a one party and had at hold the power, opposing pluralistic participation. For example, if a media would print something they didn't like, they will shut the place. If students would march against them, they will kill them. In the following, I will show you a video of the inform of the president dated September 1st, 68.